So, as you probably already know, cancer and sugar are best friends, and sugar can trigger the formation of cancer. So, cancer is an avid sugar eater. Now, what do I mean by avid? I mean greedy. It hogs all this sugar. And the reason it does that is because of its metabolism. It's very different than our normal cells. It ferments sugar, it's anaerobic, meaning without oxygen. So doctors will use PET scans, which is a process where you inject someone with radio-labeled glucose. So then it emits radiation and you can identify it on a machine. And you can find out what part of the body is hogging all this glucose. That's where the cancer is. That's where the tumor is. And cancer cells break down sugar much faster than normal cells. In a study about 6 years ago, the Journal of Clinical Investigation, they basically proved that the overconsumption of sugar promotes cancer. And there's so many other studies that link obesity to cancer, diabetes, increasing the risk of getting cancer. Now, what causes obesity? Sugar. So everything seems to be coming back to this sugar thing. So one way, this is my opinion, of preventing cancer is to not consume sugar. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Sugar creates a lot of oxidation, and the real cause of cancer is damage in the mitochondria. And so then the cell, as a survival mechanism, converts over to a different type of cell, which involves fermentation of sugars. And there's many other things that can actually damage your mitochondria that can trigger this, but sugar is one of them. If you want to know the other ones, just look up anything that is carcinogenic. So one big strategy to prevent cancer is to go on healthy keto and intermittent fasting. Why? Because that's going to avoid sugar. But there's one more thing I want to tell you about, which I think is very important. What happens when you actually have cancer? Will a ketogenic diet be enough? And the answer is, I don't think so. You have to do things a little bit differently because you have two situations. You have the fuel that feeds the cancer cell, and you also have the raw material that helps build the structure of a cancer cell. And that's a little bit different. In fact, ketones can provide the raw material to a cancer cell's membrane through a very specific pathway called SCOT. I'm not going to give you the long name for it, but when I talk about SCOT, I'm talking about the biochemical pathway to feed the cancer cell. So what if, hypothetically, we were to have a different strategy? Instead of avoiding certain fuel that fed the cancer, so let's say we block the pathway that builds the membrane, the structure of the cancer cell. So the first question I would want to know is, so if we block the raw material to building the membranes for cancer cells, are we also blocking at the same time the raw material to build normal cells? And the answer is no. This is a very interesting difference between cancer cells and normal cells. Normal cells can use fatty acids, not just ketones, to build their membranes. So the next question is there some natural compound that someone can take to block in the cancer cells this biochemical pathway that provides the raw material for the membranes? And the answer is, I think so. And there's a lot of research being done on this right now. And I'm going to be doing another video coming up real soon. So stay tuned for that video. It's very, very exciting data that you'll want to know more about.
So if you're enjoying my content, which I hope you are, and you're applying this knowledge to your health, and you have a success, I would really appreciate you sharing your success story. So click the link down below to my website where you can upload your success story so you can help inspire others.